Hello, this is Fafu Formations Dominion. This tutorial is to show you how to use the Fafu for Genesis to female. I'll show you how to unlock it, how to where to put it when you unzip it, how to set it up, where to how to you will get a lot of problems. Sometimes you may have a lot of issues. These are not just related with the one I've created, but with other things that you might have been doing, and you have some issues. I'll go ahead over it and how to fix some of these issues when they come up, and how to fix other things that might work or won't work with the Genesis 2 female. Now, there's a possibility. This one is a beta version right now. I haven't done a lot of testing in it. I've been testing it just for 2 weeks. I've been using Daz for about a month and a half, and actually sit there and take a look at it. The school have been taking all my time. I haven't had any time to actually take a look at these and try to see if I can get them working. So I'm not a professional user of Daz. I'm not a professional user of 3Dxchange and iClone. But I've created this asset here. Hopefully it's good for you. You can use it whenever you want. If there's anything you think I can fix or change in there, or you can fix it yourself and then send me the new version, and so I can take a look at it, you can go ahead and get that and get that done if you like. What does Genesis 2? What a Fafu character for Genesis 2 female is? It's the Genesis 2 female base character. The only difference is I've added glute bone, that this way when you go into iClone you can have some little jiggles back in the glute area. Now by mapping extra bone, you have to add extra weight map, and because of the weight map there's a lot of issues that come up that I'll show you how to fix. First, again, you just go ahead and when you unzip this, you'll have these 4 folders here. The first one is the Monica HD. I've created this character using Genesis PhaseGen Pro. From PhaseGen Pro, I've transferred over the morph to Genesis to a female, and from Genesis to female I use Shapeshift to create the body. I don't really like to use the presets. Some of them are, they're cheap. Some of them are really cheap. Some of them are expensive for me. But with Shapeshift and the essentials, there's a lot you can do without having to pay for a lot of this stuff. And the character preset, again, that will be the base character with the extra bone map into it. The motion, Ganga style, I found that online. I will show you where to find this in the different video. If you guys have questions or anything about other videos you would like me to do, you can let me know. I can go ahead and set that down, like from transferring from Daz to iClone and everything like that. There's one I will be doing. It's how to transfer, how to create your own asset, clothing, and transfer it from Daz, and go from Daz to Marvelous Design, and then back into Daz, and then go into iClone and use the clothing into iClone from Daz. Now let's go ahead and install these. Again, if you look, this is my content library. This is the Daz content library. What you'll do is you go ahead, you get the data and then drop it in there. It will map under your data file. Same way with the preset. Just go ahead and select the preset and drop it in there, and it should map under your preset folder. Once you get that done, you can go ahead into Daz and start working with some of this file, but they'll not show up. They will not show up under your content, your smart content. The one reason is because, one, they are not mapped for your smart content, and then there's no MetaData linked on them. So what you'll go ahead and do, a lot of times, what sometimes I'll do is just go ahead, whenever I've added a few things, I'll re-import the metadata and then import them over. Now, what you can do, let's go back into the desktop here. I'll show you some of the things right here. Now, these are some of the things I like to use. Again, you have the V4 matte, texture, genesis, and shape, and everything like that. So this one is good. You can transfer V4 shapes. You can transfer textures from Victoria to into your Genesis to female. Aging again for you, if you want to create your own morph, your own face, your own like that, you can do this. 3D iClone came with the iClone character creator, the CC, which is really good. A lot of times, like a lot of people are moving over to it. I still like to use Daz because I feel like Daz have a lot more content for now, and there's a lot I feel I can do here that I cannot do over there. You can do pretty much everything when it comes to the face and the bodies and things like that. But I mean, to me, I'm starting really liking the Daz, and but hopefully later on I'll be switching back and forth between them. If I have any other tutorials about them, I'll let you know. This one is one of my favorite. Again, you can create the breast. They have preset morphs that you can use, or you can use a combination of presets. You can dial them up, down, and fix them, and see which breast style you like. They have small, medium, and fantasy like. They have implant, natural, or crazy. Usually you have this like if you create a manga or anime or style characters and things like that. Genesis 2 female, for Genesis 2. This one is it's a clone of Genesis 3 to 10 into Genesis 2. What you can do with this is actually transfer all the clothing from your Genesis 3 so you can use them into Genesis 2. This one is a female too. It will show up as a Genesis 2 female base character when you select it, and you can transfer over your Genesis 3 female or fit onto it, and you can auto fit into Genesis 2, so your Genesis 2 can now use the Genesis 3 clothing. Again, this is your essential morphs. If you didn't purchase anything and this is your first time using this one has a lot of all the morphs are there. You can go from the face all the way up to the toe. You can fix everything that needs to be fixed. You can create any morph you like by just using this if you like. This is the male counterpart of the again, this is from the essential morphs. You can create any morph you want. This bundle, I like it because again, once I create a character and I want to go back and create some kind of age difference, if I go back in time or anything like that, and I want to create where they were a kid, or if they having a vision, if I'm creating a story where something happened 10 years ago and you want to show some of the characters and everything like that, all you have to do is just dial them off into the age group that you like, and it will show, and you can dial it and have it working. This way you don't have to go back and do a lot of details and stuff like that, trying to get just the age down low as you want it to be. One of my favorite right here is a shapeshift. I've used this with the Monica HD and the Monica in order to create the body from Daz. All I did is I used the regular Daz base body and then just dial out what I like, trying to create the exact shape of body I want. Sometimes what you can do is you can take a look at some of the pictures from Google or anything like that as a body female, and then you can start dialing this and start fixing out and trying to get it done. Sometimes too, looking at the face, and you dial the body and try to see if you can at least figure a way of fitting the face and the body into something that looks the same. Now let's go ahead now that is once that is everything has been transferred, everything is cleaned up. Again, if you go into figure, you will not see the 504 Genesis. Now again, like I said, it's not mapped. One is not mapped, and the other two, there's no metadata on it. Now if you go ahead and click FAFU here under your search, under your Daz format in your content library, you can go ahead and search for it, and sometimes it will not show up. Now if it doesn't show up, doesn't mean it's not here. What happened is, what you'll have to do is just go ahead under the Daz Studio, and then you go under Daz, and then you go into preset and character, and it's right here. Now if you look at it, there's no metadata on it. Now what you're going to do is, again, stay under your content library. You want to be while you're under content library, and inside this folder here, wherever that your content is, you can go ahead to the tab right here, and then go to content database editor. Now, if you have more than one stuff in here, sometimes you have the character and you have the materials and have all the other stuff. That's when you're doing when you're creating metadata for each one of them. I'll show you how to do it with this. It's exactly the same thing when you want to do it for everything else. So go ahead and in here you're gonna go ahead and select the whichever one you want. If they have multiple here, you can go ahead and shift select whatever multiple, or control select whichever one you want. Now the first thing you want to do is create what type it is. Now we want it to be the character, and so we go to actor and then character, and then we accept that. Now it is mapped for character. Now this is the where your metadata is set. It's set into character. It's not showing up. That's because I haven't accepted yet. Now there's more I want to do before I accept it, but just so I can show you that it's working, I'll go ahead and accept it, and you can see now the metadata is said now it is a character file. Now if you go and check, it is gonna say it's a character file. If you open it up, it will be a character file and it'll show up. And sometimes again it won't show up here. It will not show up here yet, because not because it's a character file means it's here. Now you have to tell it to where you want it to show in your smart content. Now again, while we're in content library and inside the folder, you can go ahead and go back to the content database editor and select the file, and under here in the category you go ahead and select it, right click, and you want to go to add with category to selected file. Now it's a figure character. You want to go to default figure, and you want it to be people and female. Now a lot of times most of the Genesis 2 female, they're on the real world. Some will be under stylized and some will be under fantasy. It depends on what kind of female it is, but I'll just map it into people. This way it's people female. This way I don't have to go all the way down to this to get to find it. Just being under people female, it should show up. Now we have it here. If we say accept, if we go to smart content, it will show up in smart content. Some problems that you may come across again is, even though it is in smart content and it's Genesis 2 female, and it will say Genesis 2 female, sometimes it may not be compatible. That's if you have some new things in here. So if you're doing metadata for something else, you have to not only you tell it where it is, you tell it what it is, where it is. Now you have to tell it what is it compatible with. So whenever you click whatever it is compatible with, it is showing up in there. So if you want, like let's say this one was the material. So over here you'll create you will tell it what it is as a material. So it will be preset, and it will be under material. Now once it's under material and you select it and you add it and you add to compatibility, now you can go ahead and add it to the material. You can add more than one compatibility list under here. Once you're in compatibility, you can add more than one if you want. You can add it to different area if you like to. I just like add it to the figure and female, that's it. But you can add more. The more you want to add, it will just have a list down on all the places that you can find it when you look for it. I just want it to see it on the figure whenever I check on the figure. Now again, for compatibility, this is where you tell it what's compatible with. So when you, like let's say if you created something, you call it, let's say, Fafu bra. So now the bra, I've created the bra, but I've created materials, and the materials is not linking to any. For whenever I select the bra, for the materials to show under the materials for the bra, it has to make a compatibility list for it. So the same way for this, for anything Genesis 2 female, for whenever I have this in the scene and select it, for it to actually see anything that is related with Genesis 2 female, I have to tell it to be compatible with Genesis 2 female, because if I don't, it may not show anything at all. Whenever I select it, it may not show anything at all. And when you do compatibility, it's good because you know for sure where it is, what it is, and what it's compatible with, because you don't want to have a Genesis 2 female and trying to put something V4 on it and it doesn't work and it keeps going off. So you want to make sure the compatibility is fine. So what I'll do is go ahead again, root category, so what it is, where to find, where it will link into, and then what it's compatible with. So you want it to be compatible with the Genesis 2 female, and accept. Now whenever I have a Genesis 2 female, anything compatible with Genesis 2 female will now be compatible with it, because it is Genesis 2 female. Now if this one is a Victoria 4 and you put Genesis 2 female, you will see everything Genesis 2 female. Doesn't mean it's compatible with it. It's just telling it that it is compatible, but doesn't mean it is really compatible unless you fit it to it. You set it up for Genesis 2 female, then you create the setup. Once you finish it and have everything set up and create for it, then it will work just fine for Genesis 2 female. So again, only create that compatibility to what it is really compatible for. So if it's a V4 thing, you want to put a Victoria 4 here. If it's a Genesis, you want to put Genesis 2, Micro 4, or whichever one. And if again, let's say if it was a pants, they call the pants Jumanji. So you put it, okay, it's compatible with Jumanji. You will have it into the list. If you need any new tutorials on how to use this, I'll show you, but this one is just all you do for this character. First you go ahead and set it as a character, and click here, add the root category, put it under the female people compatibility, and you make sure it's compatible with Genesis 2 female. So now once you're done, you can go to your smart content, and it may not show up. The reason it not show up is because I was already on the figure. If you click back and then you get back to figure, now it'll show up right here. Now things that you can do, things that's gonna happen when you start using this. First thing I like to do is I always like to select the character and then tile my morph and then start putting things on it. For some reason I like to put my morph first, and the reason I like to put my morph first is if it's sometimes my morph, when I put it afterward, there's some poke through and I have issues trying to fix that. I'll try to get a different tutorials on how to fix it once I've get a really 100% sure that this is how it is fixed, and I can set up a tutorial on how to fix things like that. I know I've checked auto fit, I've checked smoothing and everything like that. They most time they don't work, so I want to make sure that everything works. So shaping, you want to go into shaping and actor. You can scroll down, but sometimes the easiest way for me to do is just go ahead and search it. And you have the Monica, you have both the Monica and the Monica HD. Let's use the Monica HD because you want to have a little thing back there, so this way when the bone move, you can see some wiggles back in this area. So while we have the Monica HD here, let's go to our wardrobe, and we going to put this one because I know you guys should have this, and the bra, and I know you guys should have all these two here. So now as you can see, everything is fitted really well onto the character. Again, like I said, it is a Genesis 2 female base. There's nothing I've changed in it except adding that bone and the weight map. Now whenever you have some loose fitting clothing into this, because the loose fitting clothing, you will have physics in iClone, so you don't have to do this next step. And I'll show you why you want to do the next step, and then I'll show you the next step. But if you didn't have, like, if you have a skirt and you'll add physics for the skirt to move around, then you don't really need this. Where you create the transfer utility, you don't really need the transfer utility because it won't matter anyway, because the physics, the butt will hit it and the physics will still be part of the whatever it is. Now if it is a tight fitting clothing, like you have this, or sometimes you have a suit or something on the character, or pants or whatnot, then you will want to do the outfit, and I'll show you the reason why you will want to do the outfit. Let's go ahead and export this out, and you can see some of the problems it will cause. Again, we'll go ahead, again, for my transport, I do figures and morph. Animation, I don't do animation unless there's an animation on there. And I'll show you again the last part of the video when I export everything out with animations and like face, with the face keys and everything else. Again, embedded texture. This one, it's this way you create one FBX file with the texture already inside of the XBX file. Now, if you check this out, whenever you transform, when you transport out, Daz will create a folder where it transfer all the textures out. So by just creating this, you'll create just one FBX file without any extra folders. When you go into 3Dxchange, when you load it in there, 3Dxchange will create that folder and it will add all the textures into it. Collect texture into folder, texture folder. So whenever you select this out, this one will be checked because it will create collect the texture into a folder, and I believe this one also will be checked. So again, you want to merge clothing into figure. The reason you want to do this is because the clothing, everything, they have their own bone. The bone usually start with the hip bone and it goes all the way up to whatever bone they use. Like this one will have a hip bone all the way up to the second abdomen and down to the thigh area. There won't be any bone down here. So when you merge the collagen into it, when you send it out, some of the bones that are the same will be merged, and this will actually fit onto the character and won't move separately from the character. If you uncheck this, whenever you move the character, this one will move separately from it because it is no longer part of the bone system of the character. The bone system won't merge into one. So I always leave that check because I want, whenever I move, everything stays with the character. For my export option, I always do only final anything big. The iClone, people does say there was an extra one you do. I've tried it. It never did. I don't see really much of a difference by just doing anything big. A lot of people I've seen online been doing nothing but just anything big. So this one should be fun and good enough for you to do. And go ahead and accept that, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the 3Dxchange. Now this is the file. We go ahead and load it into 3Dxchange. And I'll show you some of the issues because of the extra mapping. Now once you've done it, again, like I said, since I didn't do any transfer utility, you don't see any extra bones or anything. Everything seems to be working just fine. And if you look, everything looks great. You have the short, everything looks to be really cool. Again, if you don't have any if it's not tied to the body, if it's not really tight to the body, and then that's it. You're really good. You're done. You're pretty much done. You can go ahead and then fix it here if you want, and then send it to iClone and get things done. But again, if it is tied to the body and you know you're gonna be moving around, and what's gonna happen is the glute gonna move separately from the short, because the short doesn't have the same map, the same weight map as this glute area, because there's no glute area for the map. So now if you look at it, let's say and do a preview, you can see there's a lot of poke through, and the poke through is because of that weight map, the extra weight map added to the glute area. Now to fix this, what you want to do is in Daz. Now again, like I said, this is only if it is really tied to the body, because again, if you in iClone, you're gonna use physics like this. It's not as tied to the body as anything else. You don't really need to create that extra step to get done, only if it is really tight on the body. So like underwear and things like that would actually move with the glute as the glute moves around. So what you will go ahead and do is go ahead to edit, and you want to go either object or figure. You just want to find the transfer utility. So it's under object or figure. You go into transfer utility, and what the transfer utility is going to do is transfer the bone and weight map from something to something else. Now what you want to do is you want to transfer the weight map of this glued area from Genesis onto the pants. So for you to do that, you want the source to be the Genesis to female, so where it's coming from, and then where it's going to will be the short. So you want the short to be exactly the same as the Genesis to female map and weight map. You want you want it to be exactly the same. Projection, I'll leave it as none. Sometimes you can do default or current, it doesn't matter. I don't see the difference between the two. There's not a lot of documents on why or why not to use them. The template, don't use that. You only use the template if you have a Genesis 2. If you're not doing with my own Genesis 2, if you're doing a regular Genesis 2, you can use template, because once you use the template, it use the Genesis 2 female template, like the regular Genesis 2 female template, and map it out. So if you have something from let's say it's Maya or Marvelous Design, and you create like a shirt, so you can go ahead and use a shirt template where when you tell it to transfer over, so what it's gonna do is gonna transfer all the map, all the bone and weight map of what a shirt normally has for Genesis to that. Now since I want to use my own, I want to use this one because it's my own, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it as none. The show map Shen, don't change anything in here. What you really need is right here is the weight map. So keep everything checked like it is right now. And again, don't select. You don't need to unselect or select anything here. Just leave it. Leave the weight map selected. Selection selected. Everything is selected. Because for me, I've tried a lot of different ones. I've had issues. Some issues without some. So go ahead and leave all of this here, and click accept. Now once you're done, if you go and onto the short, if you go to the short and then take a look at it, under the pelvis area, you will see now you have the right and the left glute bone under the short. Now what you can do again, and you'll have the you can see now you have the glute, and now you have not only have the bone, you also have the weight map of the glute. I map into the shorts now because they didn't have that now. So now whenever the glute moves, the bone it should move with it. Now again, what can happen, I forgot to show you before you do any sometimes before I do the transfer utility, the first thing I do is I select whatever it is. Let's say let's go back and just add the another underwear here. Now let's just use the old one. You'll see it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that and pull it out, and I'll show you the difference. Now in here you can see it is mapped under the thigh, right thigh and left thigh, and pelvis, and all the way up to the abdomen and abdomen 2 and chest. Now whenever everything in Daz has a bone system, so the first time when you look at it, the only bone, if you go to tools and joint editor, you will see these are the regular bone they were mapped onto the regular pants. Now if you go to the new shorts, you can see all the extra bones added to it. Now sometimes some of the bones they will not give you any issue, but I know for sure like these down here will give you issue, and sometimes the shoulder bones will give you issues. I'll show you what issues they give you, and then how I fix it here before I get into iClone. So what I'll do is just go ahead and again, I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna just go ahead and delete it. Like I said, I know it goes all the way up just to the chest and then down to the thigh. So anything below and above that, I know for sure may cause problem for me down the line. So let's go ahead and delete that, and let's go ahead and export that one out, and we call this M2. And and save, and we accept that. Okay, now sorry about that. Laptop got unplugged. So let's go back into 3Dxchange, and we're gonna go ahead and open the second one, 2. Maybe don't convert it. I'll click OK. Now again, there are some other things that I want to show you right before we complete everything. This way, if you come across some of these issues, you can go ahead and fix them yourself. Like right now, you can see now. One of the things that the problem that I've come across again right here is the extra map they add to this. It's supposed to be one map that would map for all of them, but when I've done the transfer utility, it seems to add extra bone mapping onto this here, and this can cause problem. And I'll show you what happened. Is you can see right here, it's not mapped correctly, and sometimes even if it goes all over the shoulder thing, you can see the shoulder, it is not mapped correctly. So what's gonna happen again, the glute area will be fixed because we fixed that by doing the transfer utility. If you do that, you go to preview and you do it, and you can see now it's stuck, but the legs are all messed up. Again, you can fix the leg quite easily in here. All you have to do is just go ahead and select it, and then just map it back to where it's supposed to be mapped into. Because right now it was mapped onto this bone here. Like you can see it maps right there onto the outer bone. You don't want to map it here, you want to map here. Same way with the shoulder bone, you want that one to be mapped onto the shoulder. Wait, oh, I think I have the thing one here. Then you can have it map where they're supposed to be. Or you can go ahead and fix that in iClone. Again, like I said, I'm not a professional user of this, so what I normally do is try to skip anything that I have to be done here, and I get everything done in Daz. So even though that will fix this problem right here, and you can go ahead again, the hand got messed up because I kind of moved the wrong ones around. If you know how to fix it here, you can go ahead and fix that. I know how to fix it. All you have to do is you have to make sure that you have the correct bone selected, and I have the right bone selected in here. But I think I have the some of the different bone here selected when I've done this. So again, I'll show you how to do it before you get into this. This way you don't have that kind of problem. If you're not a professional user of this, all you want to do is send it over here and then send it to iClone. So for me, you can go ahead and fix all that in Daz. So what I'll do in Daz is select the shorts. Now again, like I said, I always look at whatever the bone system was before I do the transfer utility. If I don't remember, I'll go ahead and add another one of the shorts. This way I can see the before and after. And the next thing I want to do is just go ahead into all the joints and make sure it is the short joints, because you don't want to, if you delete anything else, it will cause some issues. And you can't undo. I've tried to undo some of the time. Sometimes when I delete the bone by mistake, and it doesn't work. So you can go ahead and delete whatever extra bone that mapped onto the shorts that is not supposed to be there. You can go ahead and delete them. So the ones I normally delete, you have the shoulders and the pectorals. You don't need them, because again, the short doesn't go all the way up here. So they're not gonna affect anything. They're not gonna affect the shorts all the way up here. I usually just leave the second abdomen on, because again, it depends on how far up it goes. I'll go from second abdomen all the way up down to the shin. It depends on what wherever it comes down onto here. If it's a longer pants, then you can go ahead and leave it. If it's not a longer pants, then you can go ahead and delete those. Now it looks exactly the same bone mapping as the original, except with the except of the glute bone. So that's fine. You can go ahead now and export that out, and that should work just fine. Now before I go, I'm going to show you some of my preference. Before I transfer out things, I do some of the I lock a lot of these things here. This way I don't have problems when I transfer out, because sometimes when you transfer out, the morph doesn't transfer correctly, and it will flatten out, and it will transfer as a morph but not as the straight up character. But if you want to transfer it without having issues, let's say you have the you have the Star Wars shoulder pad and hand covers and everything like that. You have gloves, you have some things in the braids and things like that. So what you want to do is you want to actually go ahead and lock them. This is when you transfer them over, nothing moves around. So what I'm gonna do is show you what can happen if you don't lock things, and when you lock them, they work out. So let's go ahead and add hold on a second here. Let's go ahead onto our smart content, Genesis to female and wardrobe. Let's get some of them shoes on, like this right here and this right here. Now as you can see, again, click on the you can click to select it, deselect it. If you don't have any of the icons up here, you can go back into tools and just select navigator or node. This way you don't have the bones showing up anymore. Again, if you look at the down here, you can see this is wrong. There's it fits exactly the way the foot is, because it's auto fitting onto the foot. Now that's not the way it's supposed to be. A lot of the shoes, they come up with a pre-morph that once you select it, you will go into pose. They have a pose where it will actually stand correctly the way it's supposed to. Some you have to do it manually, but about 90% of them, I believe, they come up with a pose where you can fix that. So let's go. Let's see if the short has materials. You don't want to have red shoes with purple stuff. So let's top, and again, that's when you add the metadata, and this is how it's gonna work. When you add the metadata, and it will show up under whichever one you tell it to be compatible with. Now let's go down into the shoes. Now what I'll do is I'll lock everything that I've used. Again, I'll go to Genesis to female, currently used, and I'll lock the morph that I've used. All the morphs that I've used, I will lock it. Again, let's fix the shoes first. We'll go ahead into the pose, and we can go ahead, and now you can see they have pose with transpose, and you have pose without transpose. What this will do is whenever you select it, it will fit the shoes, and it will get the shoes move correctly to what's supposed to be. Like if you do it right now, you're saying it's just move without going back to about moving the character up. This way the character is not on the ground. So what you can do is whenever you do this, what it does, it'll just push the character up, so the character now is standing on the ground. So again, you can have the feet. Sometimes you have different ones with the feet, and they'll show. Again, you can see all different ones because of some of the shoes that I have. They come with these, and you can go and select whichever one. Again, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and under currently used, if you select the character now, and you go to parameters, and then go under your parameters and currently used. Now everything that is currently you currently using for will show up here. For some reason, this shape right here doesn't really show up. It bands up. It should have been showing up, but it doesn't. So what you use right now, since it's not on under everything else, you can go ahead and first you have to translate when it transposes all the way up. So you go ahead and lock that. This way it doesn't go back down when you transferring it over, because if you're transferring over, what it's going to do, it's going to try to go back to its original position. So you want to lock that. This way it doesn't do it. When you're looking at this, anything that is white are things that have been added or fixed or changed into Daz, and you can lock them out. Some of these right here, like the feet, the collision, and the subdivisions, you don't really need to lock them, because these are kind of they don't seem to change anything. The things I change are the all my transforms and all my morphs. So this way, when I transfer it over, it stays into one thing. It doesn't move around. Nothing moves around at all. So again, if you now under the Genesis currently use, that's all I have, but I know for sure I have more because of the leg bend. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and select the foot right here, and you can see there's a bend. So you can go ahead and this one here, and then lock that. Let me show you what happens if you don't lock it. Let me unlock this one. Right foot. Let me unlock this one, and let me, which one did I unlock again? After that, the transpose. Let me unlock the transpose for the Genesis. Let me unlock it. Let's do a quick transfer. Again, we think everything is fine. Everything looks good. We're gonna go ahead and transfer this. I call this M3 for MetaData 3 test, and save that. Leave everything as is, and then we go ahead and send that out. As you can see, it drops down before it does, and before it's finished. So this will be where the problem comes around. So if I go back into my 3Dxchange, let's open MetaData 3. And okay. This video is getting a lot longer than I expected. If YouTube doesn't want to take it, I'll go ahead and cut it into different pieces. So hopefully you guys have an idea on how to use this. If you want specific video for specific area and you're having issues, just go ahead and let me know. I'll go ahead and fix that. And as you can see, the foot is back to its original position, and everything is kind of dropped down. Now that's the problem, and then now you'll be like, okay, well, there's something is wrong, and why is it not working? It's because, again, it is added as a morph, not as the original position. So when you lock it, you set it up as an original position. So this way it stays like this. If you like to keep it this way and then transfer over after that and do a morph and change it in the morph and stuff, then yeah, you're fine. But for me, I want it to start where I want it to be. So again, let's go back into Daz, and now let's go ahead and lock everything I had to do with the translation and everything else. So you won't see it, even though I can select the shoes and use and currently use. It doesn't really show anything other than the auto fit and things like that. I'm not sure what, I mean, it will show up somewhere here, but I'm not sure what it's doing this. So what I normally do is, if it's not showing up, there was any change in it, you go ahead and select it. So go ahead and select currently used under your parameter, and then just go ahead and select the shoes. Now you can see there's a bend in the shoe, so you can go ahead and lock that. Again, select the second one, and this is part of the right toe. Even though we select the shoe, it's part of the right toe. And let's go ahead and select the bend. Let's try to use the again, this one will be the left foot. You go ahead and select the bend, and then the right foot, and then we'll go ahead and lock the bend. Now we've done the bend on the foot, but we haven't done anything on the shoe itself. So if you have a problem selecting the shoe and having issues with it, you can select it, and again, you can try to select it from here, and if it doesn't work, you can go ahead under the while you select the shoe, if you select the shoe, it's not showing up. You will have to go to figure to the and if you go on the left eye, left shin, and then left foot, and this is currently used. Okay, well, there's nothing here, so since there's nothing here, let's go ahead and transfer that over and see if we have any problem. If we do have problem, then it's because there's something that wasn't locked. But since the shoe is following the leg with the lock, normally it should work just fine. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and export that out. And let's go ahead and call this M4 and export. And you can see there's no change, there's nothing moved, no movement, nothing done to go back to show you there was some kind of change before and after. So this is a good sign letting you know that now if you bring anything over, it should stay at the correct position to where it's supposed to be, to exactly where you want it to be. Again, you'll want to do this for anything like a pad, like a shin pad cover, or like a shoulder cover, or arm cover, or glove, or anything that you think you want to keep with the character at the exact position. So when you have them, they will come right up here instead of falling down by themselves or go to a different position before they are manipulated in here. Now, as you can see, everything is looking just fine. This is fine. Now, again, you still have the two glutes. That's fine. And everything looks really good because of the weight map that I added. If you go to, again, because I deleted the bones, all the bones are looking what are they supposed to be. If I go ahead and do the test, you can see because of the weight map, everything looks fine. The shoes, everything looks fine. Now we pretty much good to go. And now how to make the back move. So if I go ahead into calibration and do a dance, and I preview it, as you can see, I mean, it is moving, but it's not moving like you would think it moves like independently from it. So for you to fix that, you have to do what we call the extended bone. So what you'll do is just go ahead and go back. Let's go back here. Let's go back to convert. Leave this active and just go ahead. You want to go to face and extended mapping. So this one is for breastbone. If you have tails, or if you have other, like sometimes you'll have a character that has a long tail coming up from the hair or something like that, like if underwater or whatnot or whatever it is, then you can go ahead and map all these bones. This way they can wiggle and jiggles around if you want them to. Because once you're done, you'll add spring, and then they move about by themselves without. Once the character moves, they'll move independently from the character, almost like if they are a tail or anything like that. They will wiggle, they move, they bounce, or anything like that. So again, what you want to do is you want not only, because this one covers all the glute area. You might want to say, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and do the bone from the body. Now if you do the bone from the body will move the butt, but the pants will stay separately. So what you want to do is you want to map all the glutes bone together. This way they all move together without one moving independently than the other one. So go ahead into the extended mapping, face and extended mapping, and then go down and select all the glutes, and then go ahead and click on map to extended bone, and you want the glute, map to extended bone, map to extended bone. If you want again to have the breast bounds, you go ahead to back pectoral and left pectoral and map those to the extended bone. Again, if you left all the bones back on when you were in Daz. When if you didn't delete them, you will have more pectoral maps to do because of that extra bone. So by deleting them, we don't need to see them here. But if you did it and you still see them here, all you have to do is not select them. You only select just the bone for the body, because you don't care about what happened. This one would not worry. You don't need to worry about what this is doing to affect up in here. Now, since we have all the bone mapped, you'll see they turn purple, saying that they are mapped, and you can see all of them are added into the body right here. Make sure all of them are here, and you can go ahead and convert them now. You can go ahead and convert. Now for movement. Because you put it on there doesn't mean if you go ahead and move, like say we go back to convert and let's say let's do a little dance. Not because you move it means that it's gonna move or the breast is gonna move. I mean, you convert it, you make it an extended bone, but you don't tell it what how to react to anything. So again, let's go back. Once you convert, now you want to move up and look for spring. Now you go to edit spring, click on edit spring, and you have all the extended bones right here. Now what I'll normally do is select all the glutes, click shift select the first one, shift select the last one. It will select both the glute for the body and the bone for the pins, because you want them to move exactly the same, so you keep them the same. Now if you don't select these, let's say that lemon, and select this won't be active. You can't do anything here. So make sure you select all of them before you do this. If you say it's not working, you can't select anything, it's because you haven't selected anything to tell it what you want to do. So once you select it, you go ahead to activate spring. Now under activate spring, you have the element spring and spring type. So I always keep it as translate, because I think it works a lot better. Rotate gives a problem. Soft to hard. Soft, it's almost like paper. Hard is like wood. So it's either from really a lot of movement, like a piece of cloth, and all the way up to something really, really strong. So a lot of times I leave it at 4. Many of people I've seen using this leave it at 4. Sometimes I just move it down to 3, just a little bit. And now you can import spring. If you save the spring and you export the spring for a character, you can always come back and import it. The mass, the mass, I normally move that down to 5, and the strength, I pull the strength off to 5 or 7 or 8, and then the bounciness, I want it really bounce. I want it to bounce a lot, so that. So strength, you can move it up if you don't want a lot of, you don't want it to be too bouncy. So adding a little bit of strength will make it a little bit less bouncy than if it is, because the less strength you have, the more it's gonna be flopping around. Same way with the mass. The more mass, the less mass, you will see how it reacts. So what you can do is just go ahead and dial these, move them around, see what you like for your character, and see what your character will do. So what I normally do is go ahead and take a look at it here, and then just go ahead into preview, and I'll go ahead and do a little dance to see how it bounce. And you can see, again, let's do the dance, and let's jump, and you can see the little bouncing. So if it is too much of a bounciness, you can move this down. Again, it's a personal preference on how you want it to be, but you don't want a lot of bounciness, you don't want a lot of stuff in it. Again, let's say if I move the mouse all over, and you can see it, because of the mouse, again, as you can see, there's a lot of mass into it. There's a lot of grease back there. So if you want to do, with a little bit of mass, there's a lot of muscles, and then there's a lot of grease. So again, it's gonna be up to you where you want it to be. Again, you can go ahead and take a look at what you like, and have it working. So some, you may think, okay, I want a lot of things, a lot of movement, a lot of things being done, but sometimes a little bit goes a long way, because sometimes you'll see when you go to iClone, there will be problems with it. Just go ahead and apply that. Oh, I forgot to do the pictorial area. So you can go ahead and select both pictorial area, and then again activate spring. Let's do 8 and 11. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a little bit much. Let's move that down to 4, 8, 4, 9, 11. I'll keep it 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so go ahead and apply that, and now again you have everything set up. You can go ahead and send it to iClone and start having some fun in iClone with it. Other than that, again, I showed you how to fix the shoes, how to fix this, and how to add this into it. Again, I've provided you with a T-pose. This way you can use the T-pose for it, and you can, if you want, you can always add the motion into your motion editor. You can just bring the motion and drop it exactly right under the character if you like, and again you can see movements all over the place. So and that's that. And again, you can go ahead and send it over to iClone, and you can see the foot stays what's supposed to be. Breast is a little bit much. You can fix that if you want. You get, again, you change the dial in or dial out some of the numbers, and get that fixed, and that should be fine. Other than that, I don't really see anything else here. Again, lock everything that you don't want to move around. I do lock my morphs. I always lock my morph. I currently use, I always lock all my morphs. And other than that, really, again, the skin, this one, Genesis, it's compatible with all materials for Genesis. So if you want, you can go ahead and add any skin texture that you have for Genesis 2 female. So yeah, let's go ahead and add this one, and you can see complete, everything is all fine and dandy. Let's say we go to hair, and we can go ahead and let's give her this hair here, and that's that. And for the hair, let's try to see if there's any materials that we would like to use. Let's go with this hair color here. Yeah, she's good like that. So now, one last thing before you go. One thing I see, when you have the face key, you try to transfer it over. My recommendation, before you drop the face key onto the character, once you drop the face, if you go ahead and drop the face key here right now, you will have the face key. Yeah, you'll have under your animate tab, you will have a lot of keys, all the way up to, I believe, 1,500 and something. Now, the way you fix that, if you don't have any animations here anyway, so what you want to do is, under your timeline, just go ahead and take your timeline from frame rate to 1. So once you set the frame rate at 1, so every key that's gonna be added will be added here. This way you don't have a lot of problems. Again, like I said, if I go to and then get my face key, so now if I take the face key from Genesis female and drop it onto the face and say yes, you can leave limit on if you want. It doesn't matter. But now you can see it only goes up to 57 keys. If you didn't do that, if you if you went ahead and leave the undo frame rate per second, now it's 30. If you leave it as 30 and you do this, the face key on there now, and say yes again, and leave it like this, you can see it has all the way up to like 1700 keys. So a lot of the, and again, these are like 30 frame per second. So you don't want all that. All you want is just the regular, just change that to 1 frame per second, because again, you're not doing any animation, you're just transferring the morphs. And you can go ahead and use the face key. No, cancel. Hey. And okay, and now you can see you only up to 57 frames. So that'll be a lot easier for you when export it out. So when you export it, let's call this M5 and save that. Now you want to add the animation because you transfer port animation, and what's gonna happen, you're gonna see it's gonna go ahead and do the face a lot faster than if it was doing 37. Like you can see, it's going really fast. Like this, by the time it goes up to 30 here, that's how long it will take to do one frame. Now I believe you will have to do to 1007 keys. This is how many keys you would have to do. So since you only gonna transfer the face morph, because there will be like face morphs anyway, you just wanted to turn that down to 1 frame per second. So other than that, really, this is it. Again, I showed you how to fix some of the issues. If you want specific tutorials on how to do each and individual thing before you get it out to iClone, let me know. This way you can go ahead and like now I can go ahead and open that and import that out. No, I don't want to save that. Import that out, and I'll have that inside the, oh, I forgot to do something. I forgot to tell it to send in the animation. The face key won't show up since I don't tell it that. So make sure you have animation selected. This way it would bring over the animation. Without saying animation selected, it won't bring over the animations and the morphs for the face. So be sure you have that selected when you're doing the here. So like right now it's not gonna show up because of the face. You see all my nothing is here in my morphs. Nothing in my morphs right here because, oh well, hey here. Well, I see. I guess I had it selected. Nope, I don't have it selected. So let's go ahead and new .convert, and let's open and import this right here and import animation, and you can leave everything else as is and you import that, and that should be it. So again, this is Fafu from Haitian Dominion. If you need any other tutorials or anything else, just let me know. I'll be making a tutorials on how to transfer thing from Daz Studio to Marvelous Design back to Daz Studio and then come into iClone and use it. I think I'll be creating a tutorials on how to do hair in Daz, from Daz into iClone. I'm still thinking about a tutorial on how to create other stuff, but for now this is a really long tutorial. I thought it would have been a lot shorter than this, but it's a really long tutorial and about how to do this. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Some of those risings are really big and really strong, so what sometimes I recommend is go to your rising and kind of half it down. You can do it by half down by 50% or whatever it is. This way it's not as big as it is, and you have a a smooth looking mouth than just the ooh looking one. So again, you want it, you either do it at 50%. That's why when it looks really good like this. Or you can even turn it down lower if you want, depending on what you want it to do.